Good afternoon on the East Coast, or good morning if you're in West or Central Time. Happy noon in the Midwest. Welcome to a New Policies special webinar with Kat Abughazaleh to launch our new action engine. Very excited to welcome you here. Just a couple of admin words at the top. This is a recorded session. We will be making it available after its conclusion. And we will have time at the back end after we've heard from our guest speakers for Q&A. So if you could hold your questions until the back end, and we will aim to wrap promptly at 1:30. Just a couple of words if you're not familiar with the new policy. We are a non-profit lobbying and advocacy organization focused on US policy towards Palestine and Israel and the First Amendment rights and civil protections here at home to enable that debate to happen. I am very excited to be kicking off this webinar. And honestly, I think what you're about to see and hear is really going to be a game changer for our entire movement. This is based on a lot of feedback that we've had from people across the country who are going to see their members of Congress and want to know, what should I be asking for? What should the thing be? And also feedback from members of Congress themselves who have said, I get so many requests, it would be great to find a way to actually understand what people want. And so that's where the advocacy engine came up. I have to say, is really the creation of our senior legislative researcher, Robert McDonald, who is behind our legislative analysis and building on those, in fact, 120 now bills that we are tracking, has created this incredible tool. Robert has been with us for about a year and a half now, maybe even over that, having served as a congressional staffer for a member of Congress, and also having worked for the National Democratic Institution. Really glad that he's a part of the team, and I think what he will show you is really a game changer. But before we get to that, let me hand over to my co-founder, Tariq Arbash, to introduce our other speaker today.
Thanks so much, Josh. And we're really excited to have this special guest. She's a Palestinian American journalist and a former congressional candidate from Illinois Congressional District 9. We are so glad to have her here to talk about this platform with Robert. She has been an extremely effective voice on the substance of this work, but also on helping people be more strategic in how they build their congressional campaigns. She has been a vocal, reporter in a lot of progressive spaces. And so having her be able to just weigh in on the value of this tool and handing you this tool so that you can move your own congressional representation. We're so excited to have Kat Abughazaleh here. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, all. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. Okay, Robert, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Josh, Tarek, and Kat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I am incredibly excited to introduce this tool to all of you. This has been several months of work that we are been building up to share with you. Sorry, I'm getting ready to share my screen right now, so forgive the awkward pause. But before we get to that, I would like to take a moment to show you the first tool that we had built, the legislative tracker. This is the companion tool for the Action Engine. This is the bill-focused version of the Action Engine, which is very member-focused. As Josh said, we are currently tracking 122 bills. We have 117 analysis. The legislative tracker itself lets you know all of our positions, what chamber of Congress they're in. Say if you wanted to know what bills are currently in Congress that have to deal with the West Bank, pardon my spelling, you scroll down here. These are all the bills that are currently within the 119th Congress that deal with the West Bank. So you can see here we have one with 169 co-sponsors, HR 3045. Now, to go to the tool that you were all here for, this is the Action Engine. And this is a tool that is very much designed to fill a current gap we feel within this movement. It is really kind of designed to address the question, like if you were to ask a friend of yours right now where their member of Congress currently is and where they stand on unconditional military aid to Israel and supporting Palestinian self-determination, could they answer that question? And to be honest, most people can't. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they aren't intelligent. It's because that information is not easily accessible. It is designed not to be easily accessible. And the action engine is designed to really give you that information in about 5 seconds. So the first thing that you need to know really when it comes to knowing where your member of Congress is to know who your member of Congress is. And so if we were to click this button right here, don't know who your rep is, this will connect you to congress.gov, where all you do is insert your zip code. So let's go 21044. Now, what zip code has that type of representation? So we can see here, we have Senator Angela Alsobrooks, Representative Sarah Elfreth, and Senator Chris Van Hollen in the great state of Maryland. So we want to check out Sarah Elfreth. Before that, if you wanted to see who was in the Maryland delegation as well, say if you already know it, you type in Maryland, everybody who represents the state of Maryland will pop up. But the most important person for you to know is one of those 3 people that just popped up in that search. And we're looking at Sarah Elfreth. So let's type in part of her name. And I do promise I know how to spell elf when people aren't watching. So Sarah Elfreth, we click on her, and what you see here is immediately her profile. You can see here she represents District 3. She is a Democrat from the state of Maryland. She currently serves on the House Committee on Natural Resources and the House Committee on Armed Services. Now, if you want to know why committees are important, please check out our legislate blog. It's currently located right here under the Policy Hub. We actually have an explainer about why committees are important when you are reaching out to members of Congress as they move through the process that gets it to the floor, especially the NDAA, and highly recommend you actually sign up for our Congressional Action Network to really get great explainers on that. I promise, I think that's the last plug I have for you all. We scroll just a bit down, you see this right here. This is the meat of what this tool really does give you. You can see here that you have this green number right here. Congresswoman Elfreth has co-sponsored 1 positive bill that we have analyzed. She has not yet co-sponsored 17 bills, and she has currently co-sponsored 1 bill that we do oppose. Now, if you scroll down a bit further, you can see the recommended next steps. If you are reaching out to Congresswoman Elfreth's office, we have built in these recommended next steps based on the conversations that a new policy has had with congressional staff, with members themselves, to understand how we can really move them up the step ladder to get them to where we all want them to be in the future. Not every member is ready to sign on to the bills that I know we all really are deeply passionate about. Sometimes it does take 1 or 2 steps to get them towards that end goal. And as you can see here, the first recommended next step is to remove her co-sponsorship for HR 1229, the United States-Israel Defense Partnership Act of 2025. And if you would like to know a bit more about that bill, you click this button right here, and it takes you to our legislative analysis. You can see a bill summary on it, the context, a values and interest analysis, and an explainer about why we oppose this piece of legislation. And if you wanted to email her, we can click this button right here, and it takes you to a generated email that you can send to Congresswoman Elfreth's office. You can see right here, dear Representative Elfreth, I'm writing to urge you to withdraw your co-sponsorship for HR 1229. It also has a link to our legislative analysis, so they know that you are actually sending this as part of a new policy. You're showing your knowledge behind it as well. Click this button to copy it. Press Control-C. For people who use different types of laptops, I apologize. I know there's different keys. Open the contact form, and this will take you directly to any member of Congress's contact form. Now, it's important to remember to send this to your member of Congress. And whenever you get to one of these contact forms, it's going to either ask you for the street address, city, and zip, or it's going to ask you specifically for their zip code, because members of Congress, you need to actually be their constituent to really reach out to them. They are supposed to really only address emails and calls from their own constituents. So fill that out. Paste it right there, and just make sure you are changing this right here from your name to your actual name, so they can show there's intentionality behind this message itself. So once you've done that, say if you also want to email her about asking her to co-sponsor Block the Ball. So you can see it right here. You can see there are also 81 current co-sponsors. You're not just asking them to take leadership on this. You're not asking them to introduce a bill. You're asking them to join a piece of legislation that 81 of their other colleagues have already signed on to. And say if you want a little bit more information, you can actually see the pieces of legislation she's already signed. She co-sponsored the West Bank Violence Prevention Act of 2025. She's one of the 169 members of the House of Representatives that have already co-sponsored this piece of legislation. If you want to see the ones she has not yet co-sponsored, there's a list right here. And if you want to see all the bills she has opposed, now she's only opposed one. If you wanted to see someone with a longer list, Tom Cotton always has a very long list on this one. You can see an entire list of all the bills that they are currently co-sponsoring that they oppose. You can email any one of these. Now, our recommended next steps are based on, of course, our experiences. But if you are deeply passionate about a bill that has been introduced on this issue, that you want to email your member of Congress, we're not telling you you can't do that through that tool. Click on Not Yet Co-Sponsored, and we have all of these bills here. Say if you really want to email Congresswoman Elfreth about HR 7565, Food for Palestinian Children and Families in Palestine, Palestinian Human Rights Act of 2026, you can click the bill text to get more information about it if you'd like. You can click the analysis as well to get our analysis. And of course, you can email her again right here. This information right here is democratized. We have recommended next steps, but you are allowed to take ownership. You have agency in what you email your members of Congress. And if you would like to give them a call instead of sending an email, scroll down right here, and you can see we have this number right here, which will take you to the Capitol switchboard, and it will connect you with her office. Click this button right here if you are in mobile. It will load up on your phone. If you want to see her congress.gov profile just in general to get more information about her as a member, you are welcome to go on that as well. And if you wanted to actually get information about their district offices, click on this. Now, some of these do not take you currently directly to the link. You might have to click one more button. Click office locations. And you can see here, we have the Congresswoman district's office phone number right there, as well as her DC office, if that's what you prefer to use. And another exciting tool that this thing does is that we have upcoming constituent engagements, and we do our best to gather, by the way, every single member. Now, there are 535 members, so there will be gaps, and I will get to that in just a second. And as you can see here, Congresswoman Elfreth actually has a telephone town hall coming up on September 2nd. If you click on it right here, a lot of these events have required signups just to make sure their constituents are the ones that are joining these events, as that's who they are designed to serve. So you can click down, you can see information about the event itself. Make sure you sign up. And you can see that she also has a constituent resource fair. This is also a valuable tool if you want to know how district offices are able to serve you, or if there are other avenues for you to have conversations about this issue with staff members of the Congresswoman. And if you see something we currently do not have on there, click this button right here, and you can see it's already pre-filled the member's name. It's pre-filled the district. Senate will have the Senate itself, what state they serve. And you would just insert the date, the time, the subject, and the link. Now, this will go to a back end where we will, of course, verify this. We want to make sure we are not having things posted very inappropriate on our website, and we will verify that this is all correct, and then we will approve it for you, and then we will do our best to keep up to make sure, say, if the event is canceled, that event is removed. But when an event is posted, make sure you sign up so you get the most up-to-date information if something is canceled in the last minute. Also, we have this wonderful share tool. Now, I don't have my social media connected to my work laptop, so I apologize. I can't show you the exact text. But when you click this right here, it'll take you to Twitter, and it will actually provide a brief explanation of basically everything you're seeing here, that Congresswoman Elfreth has supported one of 19 bills that a new policy has analyzed on Palestinian self-determination, stopping unconditional aid to Israel, and supporting Americans' right to free speech. And it'll provide, say, okay, they've supported one bill that I oppose, as well as a link to this tool. So say people in the community who are following you, they will actually be able to click on that link and see Congresswoman Elfreth's profile. If they want to check their own member, they click on the link, they can go up and do what we just did to find out who their member is and see where their member is at as well. And now, if you would like to say, if you have a event with the Congresswoman's office, if you have an event, or if you know partners who are going there, if you know people are going there, if you click this button right here, this will generate a downloadable and shareable PDF. Now, if you are going to the Congresswoman's office, you print this out or you share it with your colleagues, right, who are going in there as well. You have a document that will provide you with direct asks to the Congresswoman. You're not just going there with random information. You have very specific things you are asking. You can ask her to do all of these things, recommended to remove her co-sponsorship, request co-sponsorship, and of course, you can highlight the things you are deeply passionate as well to request her to join. You can thank her for co-sponsoring HR 3045, or then ask for an explanation about why she's co-sponsoring a bill that we do all oppose. So This is the action engine. If you have any kind of recommendation, I know I'm always through this development process, the information that we get from our partners, from people in the community is so incredibly important in the development. We built this ourselves. There's no paywalls, there's no account sign up. This is information that is given to you for free, and your input can always influence the direct development of what we can and cannot build into this. I can't promise if you send me an email to build something that we are going to be able to do it. However, I can promise that we will do our best to make sure that we are joining this movement as a community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. So excited for that. And now let's turn to Kat Abughazaleh to hear from her.
Yeah, I mean, this tool is just absolutely incredible. And I've stressed this to Robert a million times now. And by a million, I mean in the 2 meetings we've had. But one of the things that's really hard about legislative tracking in any topic is that it is very intensive to be able to follow all these things, even more so to send people to where something should be, to have briefs essentially talking about why this legislation is important, why it's good, why it's bad. And this tool has all of those with zero paywall, zero like login required. It's just easily accessible. And it's also something that I think people will easily use in a way that like it's, looking at, I saw someone ask a question about APAC money and how people are backed. The tools to look at where people are backed are a lot more complicated than what someone's voting for, what someone supports, what someone's co-sponsoring, what someone's not. And that's really where we need to be putting a lot of stress on members of Congress, of elected officials, for the most immediate change. I'm really excited to use this tool because even as a Palestinian person who deeply cares about Palestine, I don't know all 112 bills that I would love to see passed or the bills that I don't want to see, because Congress gets a lot more done than any of us think, or at least puts it on the floor. I really want to stress to people that the accessibility of this is unique. And I think it's also a tool that you can give to other spaces that you're involved in for them to model themselves after. But I really hope, especially if you have a platform of any sort, that you're showing this to other people. Palestine is a litmus test for a reason, and especially now. And so being able to use this tool, being able to have a tangible, direct ask and an ask for the user to do as well, I think is just invaluable.
Thank you so much, Kat. And it's great to hear that endorsement from someone who has dealt with people coming and saying, asking for you to do things, and you as an organizer, as an activist yourself. So really, really value that endorsement.
I'd also
Uh,
like to add there, it's very stressful to go and look at someone's record all the time and try to find every single bill. Like that is a nightmare. There are very few resources that put all of them in one place. This does on the issue that a lot of us see as a litmus test in this moment and as one of our most urgent issues in this moment. So thank you so much, A New Policy, for putting this together.
Thank you. So we are going to open it up for questions now. Before we do, with a drum roll, I am going to drop the link in the chat so that you can all go online and access the Action Engine, which is now live. And here's the link. And of course, we will send that out via email as well. But there you go. There it is. Please do go ahead and feel free to take full advantage of it. So turning to the questions, we'll start with one from Carol Abu Musa, who asks, does the tool analyze past votes as part of future recommendations? Some reps don't co-sponsor a lot of bills, but rely on votes. Others co-sponsor things like block the bombs and also vote in support of weapons or vote against a good bill.
So yeah, that is a absolutely wonderful question. So currently the tool does not look at past votes itself. What it does though is so you're looking at past votes, the 119th Congress does not have a lot on record. And say if there is an upcoming vote, we actually do have a pop-up that will actually let you know when the vote is actually going to happen. It will also generate an email for you to send to your member of Congress to ask them to support that bill. But when it comes to past votes, this tool is really designed to move them up the step ladder. So you can see where they currently are. And one of the disadvantages, say, we have seen with not a lot of bills making it to the floor, the ways to really get members to move up that is the best avenue is often co-sponsorships, because they are telling you by co-sponsoring a bill, they are going to vote for it if it does come up to the floor, versus say promising you that it's going to come to the floor where the vote is not actually going to happen. Co-sponsorship is often the best way to make sure that they are supporting a piece of legislation before there's even discussion of a vote.
Great. Thanks, Robert. Here's a question now from Sasha, who says, hello, as congressional members change positions and co-sponsor legislation, I assume the tool will update the database. Will there be a mechanism for multi-session tracking of legislation that is supported and or opposed as reintroduction of bills occur? As example, we will have the reintroduction of the Block the Bombs Act in the 120th Congress. Will we have an ability to look at who was supporting it in the 119th?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of this data that we have seen here is actually internal that we have in a new policy. We're giving that access to you. So when there is, say, the 120th Congress does come in there, we will have, say, one very much itself built for the 120th Congress. And we will also have, say, an archive of everything in the 119th Congress, so you can go back and make sure you check that. Also, whenever legislation is introduced, as I showed with the legislative tracker, we get that online as quickly as possible with an analysis. And that will automatically go into the action engine itself, where all the co-sponsorships will be updated as soon as they are added for every single bill. Say if Congresswoman Elfreth was to support Block the Bombs today, that will be updated on congress.gov at about 8 or 9 a.m. on Monday. This tool will pick it up at 9:01, so you get the most up-to-date information about what they're co-sponsoring. And you'll have that data will be archived for you to see if she supported it or somebody else supported it in the 119th, going into the 120th.
So there have been a couple of questions I'm going to combine here. How often how do you update congressional maps? Because there's redistricting, and so how can I be sure that I'm reaching out to the right member of Congress, basically?
Again, a truly wonderful question. And we have seen redistricting as being very much in the conversation in the national dialogue for a very, very long time. So all of this information comes from congress.gov. So when a district is shifting, that will then go into congress.gov's database and then say if their district actually has shifted. You'll see the updated district number within our tool itself. And when you go to select your member in that tool, that is also from congress.gov. So you will get the correct member of Congress no matter what, even after redistricting.
Thanks. So there's a couple of questions here that I'm also going to combine. I think I'm going to take this one, which is, does this tell you essentially the score for your member? Does this give you sort of a, where they stand? So the answer is that this is essentially a tool for action. A score is a snapshot in time, and also isn't the whole picture, right? Because there are certainly some members who may be doing things behind the scenes that aren't represented in votes or co-sponsorships. But what this does is, regardless of whether the member is one of the very best on Palestine or one of the very worst, it tells you what the next step for them is. And at the end of the day, it's all about moving people up that ladder. So I hope that helps in that respect. Robert, next question for you from Melanie. Can someone explain how a bill is chosen? Is it based on the committee's leaders to bring it to the floor? And if so, does this tool email and call those leaders who are deciding which bills to bring to the floor?
So what this bill does and how we basically make the decision when we are analyzing legislation is that the moment it's introduced on congress.gov, it goes onto the web, introduced in Congress, the next day it goes to congress.gov. And every single morning I'm going through congress.gov, reading all the bills that are being introduced. We're making sure to see how they affect Palestinian self-determination. And once we identify a bill, we get an analysis out there. It's not about if that bill is coming to the floor. It's all about if that bill is introduced, so you can see what members are doing themselves. And when it comes to introducing things on the floor, I would say that is one of these things. The more people that co-sponsor a bill, the more avenue for that getting more support to get a floor vote. That puts more pressure on leadership to do that. But this gets the most up-to-date information for any bill, no matter where it's going to end up, you will know about it.
So a couple of people have asked to clarify what we mean by opposed. What do we mean by opposed bills? Is that bills that the members oppose? Is that bills that we oppose? If we oppose them, why?
So yeah, that is bills that we oppose. If there's bills that we support with an amendment, that is the position that a new policy is taken. And this is done through basically, this decision is always taken based on the work that a new policy is doing in supporting Palestinian self-determination, stopping unconditional aid for Israel, and supporting the right of Americans to free speech. That's all of these are weighed based, of course, on doing what's best for American values and for American interest. And these are conversations that we have every week about every single bill to make sure that we are doing this judiciously. We are not just reacting to what a bill says. We've taken time to really study what it does and then give that information to you in the best possible way we can.
Question from Stacy. Can the tool show us who is changing their position, e.g., moving up the ladder? I think it's important to reach out, thank, and encourage members of Congress who have changed or are changing their positions in a positive direction.
So I think that's actually a great point. And so right now, this bill will tell you where the member currently is. And I think questions like that, ideas like that are very valuable for to hear. So as we're thinking about development, if we have some sort of tracking for how they have moved over time, I think that is something I will actually take note of personally. But right now, this will actually tell you where your member currently is. I mean, I suggest if you wanted to track how your member has shifted over time, if you were to log on this in about right now, you can print the PDF so you can keep note of where they are and how they have moved. But I do think that is something I will very much look into and do an update. It's something I did not consider during development. So thank you for that question.
I think we have time for 2 or 3 more questions. A question from John. I think I heard you say most of the bills we want will never come to a vote. Will the new policy highlight bills that are close, that actually have a chance to pass, like war powers resolutions, and help us concentrate on the handful of on-the-fence reps that will decide whether the bill passes or not?
So that's where the recommended next steps really do come into light. You can see where the most members are really co-sponsoring, where the most legislative movement, where the momentum really is behind. We, of course, can't control what the speaker decides to put on the floor, what discharge positions are being done. However, the more support there is behind a bill, the more that can be done. And if a bill is coming to a vote, there is a pop-up that will come onto this tool. It will tell you what chamber of Congress that bill is actually in. It'll basically find your member, and then you will have the exact date for when that bill is occurring. And if you wanted to actually look into past votes, our legislative tracker will tell you if there's been a vote on something in the past as well.
Great, thank you. So there are a lot of other questions. I'm noticing that we have about a minute left. And so what I'd like to do is, first of all, say if you have questions, please do email us, info@anewpolicy.org. I also see a lot of people asking how they can get involved. If you go to our website, anewpolicy.org, at the top right there, you will see Take Action. And in there, you'll see a link to our Congressional Action Network, to our advocacy network. Do please sign up and join us there. And again, I've dropped the link in the chat to the tool. We'll send that out, but please do use it and do provide us feedback. Again, by emailing info@anewpolicy.org. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you all very much indeed for joining, and please provide us your feedback. But really, really excited about this tool. I really think it can be a game changer. And happy to continue the conversation with all of you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, and let's go make change.